Hi everyone, it's Paul Salazar at Hilton Hyland Real Estate in Beverly Hills. You're watching episode 3 of Real Estate During COVID-19. A little bit about myself. I've been in the industry since 2006. I am a SoCal native and I've been at Hilton and Hyland since 2009. Okay, so today we're going to discuss some new trends that are going to be happening in the new listings. Zillow traffic, there's an update from the Mortgage Bankers Association. We'll discuss how unemployment might affect real estate. We'll share some stats about new construction across the United States, and we'll set the record straight on forbearance. There's been a lot of misconceptions about that, so there's been some news recently about forbearance, and we'll cover that. Lastly, I'll discuss how we're showing property in Los Angeles due to the coronavirus. So I've updated the graph here on new listings trend in Los Angeles. As you can see, from before the shutdown, we were getting about 140 plus new listings every single day on the market. That went down dramatically, about 60% drop over that first week or so, and then that's kind of hovered around 100 since then. This is a graph by Mike Delpreet showing us trends of new listings throughout some of the bigger cities in the United States. And you can see here that there was a sharp decline over the first 2 weeks, then it plateaued, and we're starting to see a small uptick, both here in Los Angeles and Chicago, San Francisco, as well as Seattle. Unfortunately, New York is still suffering. They've been hit the hardest from the coronavirus, not surprisingly, and the amount of new listings hitting the market there is still about 80% below last year's. Zillow just came out with a new stat that the amount of website views on Zillow for housing is up in mid-April compared to last year in San Francisco and LA. So that's good news, right? It was down about 19% in March, but since then, they're starting to see more views compared to last year in Los Angeles and San Francisco. So, you know, we're seeing people online looking for houses. That's really, really good news. This is also kind of the same as the Zillow trend. The amount of new home loan applications went up 12% last week compared to the week before. There was a huge drop off, obviously, in new home loan applications after the shutdown, but we're starting to see that trend go up. Same with the new listings and the Zillow views. So that's all good news. Unfortunately, big banks like Chase and Wells Fargo have started freezing their HELOCs, their home equity line of credit. So if you have, $400,000 or $500,000 worth of equity in your home and you want to take out 100 or 200 on a line of credit, they're no longer doing that. So if you do have that home equity line, what people have been doing is they're taking that money out and they're putting it in their bank account so that if something happens, they have some cash there. And the banks have been seeing that trend, so they're starting to freeze that sector of the mortgage. Okay, let's talk about how unemployment might affect the real estate market. Here on this graph, you see that they're projecting about a 15% unemployment rate due to the coronavirus. In previous, big recessions, we have the Great Recession right here in the orange, which the unemployment went down to 9.9, and that took about 9 years for recovery. The Great Recession went down 24.9%, and that took 12 years to recover. The experts are saying that we're going to recover within 2 years. Again, this is all just projections by experts. We'll see, what actually ends up happening. And this is historical values on both unemployment rate and home sales. So there's no direct correlation on how the rise or the fall of unemployment will affect home sales. It did affect it here in the Great Recession, here number 3. So we'll see how that affects the real estate market due to the coronavirus. All right, let's talk about new home construction. There's a stat that just came out last week that new home construction starts were down about 22.3% in March from February. So developers, new home construction, KB Home, Lennar, and even smaller developers have stalled new home construction dramatically in March. I don't know what the stats are for April. That hasn't come out yet. So that's obviously going to affect real estate and home sales in the next 6 to 12 to 18 months. So we'll definitely keep track of that, and we'll keep you updated. The same story here talks about how there's also a 6.1% decline in the completion of new homes. So they're saying that 6% of the houses that were already in construction have stopped. And I'm not sure exactly, what the plan is, if they're gonna continue that home construction, or if there's going to be some ghost towns like there were back in the Great Recession, where there was a bunch of new home construction that just kind of stalled, right? And the amount of new permits was down 6.8%. Not surprisingly, right? I think everybody's kind of on that holding pattern, trying to figure out what's going to happen. Okay, let's talk about forbearance. There's been a lot of misconceptions. Last week in episode 2, I talked about how there's going to be a big balloon payment at the end of that 3 or 4 month forbearance period. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have come out and said that borrowers are not required to repay their missed payments all at once. So that is really, really good news. So you have about 3 options, right? You can do a repayment plan with your mortgage. You can defer that payment to the end of the mortgage. So if you have a 30-year mortgage, you can just pay those 3 or 4 months of missed mortgage payments at the end of the 30 years. Or you can do a loan modification, which was really popular during the Great Recession. A lot of people were doing loan modifications to either lower their balance or lower their rate to get a lower payment. Okay, so lastly, I wanted to discuss how we're showing properties in Los Angeles. Finally, the city of LA, and I believe the county of LA has now put real estate as an essential business. So what we're doing now to show real estate is we can only allow 2 people at once inside of a house, along with the agent, and everybody has to wear a mask. And if you want to be safer, we're also offering gloves, so that if you are touching knobs and you're opening up drawers and all that stuff, that nobody's going to be infected. So that's what we're doing now to show houses. Also, if you own a house that is tenant occupied, you have to get permission from the tenant in order for you to show the property to a prospective buyer. And also, you have to sign a form called the PEAD form that the California Association of Realtors has provided us agents. Every buyer who enters any property has to sign this form. Basically, I believe it's releasing liability if they get sick from the coronavirus. And that's it, guys. Well, thanks for watching. I try to keep it short. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Follow me on LinkedIn, or give me a call or shoot me an email. Look forward to talking to you guys again.